Yeah. I like watching the head get smaller and smaller. So, this is what we're going to work with. Let's see if we can't make a pretty neat design. More of a classic design there. Ooh. Ooh. I do kind of like that. A little too bright. This one's neat. This one's neat. I'm torn between B and C. So, odd we do C, even we do B. And we're doing B. We rolled a 2. That's maybe something I need to do is get like a Baldur's Gate style dice roller. That'd be a fun little overlay to have. Let's see. We're going to do large. We're going to make that bright. We're going to make that blue. Purplish. Well, I guess that's more red. Oof, almost bioluminescent. That's pretty cool. Yeah, let's do something a little out of the ordinary. Let's do like a bright blue. Kind of like that. Make our markings a little bit more dark to almost get a Pandora effect on this. Actually, how would that look with... See, now I'm kind of torn because this is definitely giving me more like avatars. You know, like Pandora, the big blue people. It's giving me more of that vibe, so I think I might stick with that. Let's see, we've got our little flank here. Something that matches with blue a little bit. Yeah, I think that's the one. Little underbelly. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Oh, grayish, bluish gray. And then for the eyes, a nice contrasting color. Got nice bright red, yellow. Let's see if we can focus on the head a little bit. Yeah, we'll go with that. Actually, I'm going to name this Pandora. Yeah, the chutes, plates. I can't remember the scientific term for him, but I know there is one. Okay, we'll load in. It's probably nighttime. Yeah, close to it. So, we are a Stegosaurus. I am a Stegosaurus. We're going to go to Sanctuary. We're going to run all the way over there. Now, truth be told, if I had been this dinosaur when those Herreras had attacked me, I probably would still be alive. These little dudes are tanks. But you don't need to see it, or you don't need to hear me say it. You'll see it yourself. As a chicken. If we were a carnivore, that would have been cool. We are not. And of course, we spawn in right when it's starting to get as dark as possible. Riveting gameplay. We're gonna go ahead and give it another sniff. See if we can't find any closer food to us. Yep, Bell seems like it wants to be in that direction. I do not believe we're going to be able to get up, so we might as well just hang out here for a second. And maybe I'll explain some of the mutations. Maybe some of the things that go on. So, since we can't see outside, we're going to take a look at our status report, our little menu here. We have different things like a good diet that lets us know that doing well. We have a good diet, that means we've eaten at least something from our nutritional sources, which increases our growth rate. The idea is that we want to have somewhere between 50 to 100%. Ideally, you could get all the way up to 300% growth rate. You're growing 3 times as fast, but that requires you to have all of your nutrition filled at all times, which is pretty cool. Pretty hard to do, but pretty cool. I'll let you know your bite force right here, your max speed, your weight. In this game, your weight is essentially your health. So I have 126 health right now, which means if I was to bite myself, it would take about 126 bites. No, maybe a little less than that. But you get the idea. My weight is my health. It's almost a 1-for-1 ratio. This is our actual location. There are third-party maps that you can use to determine your location and even find other players. I do use them from time to time, but I'm not going to use that today, as I like to keep things pretty realistic. Yep, all the good important information. This is where if we had a group, we could set admins, we could have whole groups, we have spawn codes so people can spawn on us. These are the mutations. These allow us to become better, stronger dinosaurs. I always like to go with this one right here, especially as I'm growing. It reduces incoming damage when fighting larger species, 15%, which is pretty fun. Pretty decent value right there. Typically it's like 5-10%, so 15% is pretty decent value. You can have 3 mutations as you age. You get this one once you hit. What happened? Don't know what that was. Anyway, so back to this. So different mutations. So you can see this one right here. Pops out. If once we get to 50% growth, then we unlock this one. And once we hit 75% growth, we unlock this one. If we were to hit Prime Elder, once we hit 75%, then we would have also unlocked a 4th one, which is kind of why people strive to do all the things that are required to achieve Prime Elder status. And you can be born and hatched into, let's say, for example, I was to grow all the way, or get, if I was to grow and then find a mate in-game and start a nest and hatch the nest, whoever is hatched from that nest would have some of my mutations available to them without them having to grow, which is kind of nice. But also on top of that, if I was to grow all the way to 100%, there's something that you can do as an elder or prime elder called entombing, where you essentially reincarnate, but you keep some of the value or some of the traits that you grew in this. So it's essentially like you're reincarnating and allowing you to become an even stronger dinosaur through several. Yes, yeah, you definitely have to consider what traits you are selecting when breeding. It's very important. And it's not just the traits either. One of the big things in this game right now, because they haven't really given us much more content, and you can only run around as a dinosaur so many times before you just get bored, is skin breeding. So as you saw in the character creation, there is they're pretty cool with, or expansive with what you can do with your camouflage, your skin. But when you breed, you can actually create super rare skin patterns. In fact, you can copy the skin code. So as you can see, like they can go pretty extensive. This one's a basic one because, well, I am a basic dinosaur. I am not bred into this, and I don't have any admin commands or controls to change any of the colors. And if you were on earlier and saw that super bright red crocodile, the reason why he's so impressive is because he for sure was either given that skin by the server owners or he bred it. Which, again, kind of a cool mechanic in the game. Here we go. Here's a nice little path that should lead us right to where we want to go. Yep, still very dark outside, so we're going to continue using our night vision. That's okay. We're a pretty large dinosaur, so we grow slowly, so our food is not going to deteriorate as fast. Oh, that's creepy. Imagine running around at night like this. Running in the fog. Yeah, maybe we'll... Frickin' chickens. Oh yeah, here's one of those little human structures I've been talking about in the past. Little gate that we cannot get through. So we'll have to continue off the path. Off the beaten path, as I say. As many people would say. I believe that is just the chicken running away from me. But we'll at least hug this wall because it is going to be harder. Oh! Can only hug onto that wall for so long before there's no longer a wall. You do need to get on the other side of that wall, so maybe there's a place for us to do that soon. That does imply that there are humans in this game. So far, it is just the structures. There are no actual playable humans. There are no AI humans. It's just the structures. As the game develops more, we may see the release of some humans. Again, the developers, while they do a good job with what they do put out, they are slow to do it. So it could be, me and some friends were joking, it could be 15 years before we see humans in the game. Could be. Yep. Big old gate here, Jurassic Park style. But, yeah, I enjoy this game. I know a lot of people who have played this game don't enjoy it as much, but I enjoy it because... that's a little deer. We're not going to be worried about the deer. Another deer. Again, we're not going to be too worried about that. I probably should drink something other than black coffee. So maybe once I get to the sanctuary here, I will go get myself a little bit of LaCroix. Fun fact, LaCroix, since it has no calories, is totally safe. I say safe. Is totally viable if you were to do a 24, 36-hour fast. 2 weeks ago, we ended up... That is what we like to call a problem. You can tell just by the overall sound of that call that was a much larger dinosaur than I. So we're going to be very cautious moving forward. It definitely was also carnivorous. We want to avoid the carnivorous dinosaurs currently. If it was a smaller carnivorous dinosaur, I might be able to take it as a juvenile, as these spiky tail things are pretty deadly. But that was not a small carnivorous dinosaur. That was something that would probably munch on us pretty quickly. That's okay, because we have arrived. If you can hear